5 years can change almost everything. Or at least, that's what I kept telling myself. After Lily and I broke up, I buried myself in work. I accepted projects in different cities. I traveled whenever I could. I met new people. I smiled when people expected me to smile. Eventually, the pain became quieter. It never disappeared. It simply stopped speaking every day. One Friday evening, I returned home to find an elegant envelope waiting in my mailbox. There was no return address, only my name written neatly across the front. I carried it inside without much thought. As soon as I opened it, my hands froze. It was a wedding invitation. I read the bride's name once, then twice, then a third time. Lily Carter. 5 years. 5 long years had passed since I last saw her. I had imagined many ways our paths might cross again. A grocery store, an airport, a random street. Never this. Never through a wedding invitation. Before I could think clearly, my phone rang. "Ryan, you sound strange," he said the moment I answered. "I just got something." "What?" "A wedding invitation." "So, it's from Lily." Silence filled the line. Finally, Ryan spoke. "Throw it away." I walked to the window. "I don't know if I can. What good comes from going? I need closure. You've had 5 years. Not answers." Ryan sighed. "Some questions don't deserve answers." "Maybe, but this one does." He stayed quiet for a moment. "Do you still love her?" The question caught me off guard. I looked at the invitation again. "I don't know. That's not convincing. I love the person she used to be. And now, I don't even know who she is anymore." Ryan's voice softened. "I'm worried. I know. I don't want to watch you get hurt again." "I won't." "You can't promise that." "No, I can't." The wedding was held 2 days later in the countryside. The drive took almost 3 hours. Every mile brought back another memory. The old cafe where Lily laughed because I spilled coffee on myself. The lake where we planned a future that never happened. The tiny bookstore where she insisted every story deserved a hopeful ending. I smiled despite myself. Some memories refused to become painful. They simply became distant. When I finally reached the venue, the sun was beginning to set. The estate looked beautiful. White flowers lined the stone pathway. Soft music floated through the gardens. Guests laughed beneath glowing lights. Everything looked perfect. Too perfect. I stepped out of my car and took a deep breath. Before I reached the entrance, someone quietly called my name. I turned around. Lily stood only a few feet away. 5 years had changed her. She looked older, calmer, more graceful. Yet something in her eyes hadn't changed at all. She smiled gently. "You came." I nodded. "You invited me." She looked down for a moment. "I wasn't sure you would." "I almost didn't." She laughed softly. "I probably deserved that." For several seconds, neither of us spoke. Finally, she looked back at me. "Thank you for coming." Her words were sincere, but her smile wasn't. Behind it, I saw something else. Nervousness, almost fear. I glanced around. "So?" I asked quietly. Lily's smile disappeared for just a second. Then she forced it back. "You'll meet him soon." Her answer felt carefully rehearsed. I looked at her. "You seem nervous." She laughed softly. "Every bride is nervous." "Not like this." She avoided my eyes. "I've just had a busy morning." I wanted to believe her. Instead, I noticed her fingers twisting the edge of her bouquet. She had always done that whenever she was anxious. Some habits never changed. "You look well," she said. "I've been doing okay." "I'm glad." "What about you?" She hesitated. "I'm trying." The answer sounded strange. Trying? A woman hours away from her wedding usually said she was excited, happy, ready, not trying. Before I could ask another question, a wedding coordinator hurried over. "Miss Carter, the florist needs you." Lily nodded. "I'll be right there." The coordinator smiled politely at me before walking away. Lily looked back at me. "I have to go." "Of course." She took a few steps before stopping. Without turning around, she quietly said, "I'm really glad you came." Then she disappeared toward the main building. I watched her leave. Something didn't feel right. Ryan's words echoed in my head. "Don't go. You'll only get hurt." Maybe he had been right. Maybe I should leave before the ceremony began. But my feet refused to move. I wandered through the gardens instead. Guests chatted happily. Children chased each other across the lawn. A string quartet played near a fountain. Everything looked exactly like the perfect wedding people dreamed about. Everything except the bride. As I stood beside a stone path, an older couple walked past me. The woman whispered, "She still looks uncertain." Her husband sighed. I noticed. I hope she goes through with it. They continued walking before I could hear anything else. My curiosity grew stronger. A waiter offered me a glass of sparkling water. I accepted it and thanked him. As I turned around, I almost bumped into another guest. "I'm sorry." "It's all right." The man smiled politely before walking away. He looked familiar, but I couldn't remember from where. Across the lawn, I spotted Lily again. She stood alone near a small gazebo. No bridesmaids. No family. Just her. She stared toward the distant hills, as if wishing she could be somewhere else. I started walking toward her. Before I reached her, someone called her name. "Lily." She turned immediately. An older woman embraced her. Lily smiled politely, but it disappeared almost instantly. Even from a distance, I could see the sadness in her eyes. The woman walked away after saying a few words. Lily remained where she was. Alone again. I finally reached her. "Mind if I join you?" She looked surprised. "No." We stood together in silence. The breeze moved gently through the trees. "It really is beautiful here," I said. "It is. You picked this place?" She nodded. "We came here once." I looked at her. "We?" She gave a faint smile. "You don't remember?" Then it hit me. 5 years earlier, during a weekend trip, we had stopped at this same countryside estate when it was only a small family garden. You remembered. I remembered everything. Before I could respond, church bells echoed across the grounds. Guests began moving toward the ceremony hall. Lily looked down at her bouquet. "It's almost time." I nodded slowly. She took one step toward the entrance, then stopped. Without looking at me, she whispered something so quietly I almost missed it. I wish things had been different. Before I could ask what she meant, someone called for the bride. Lily took a deep breath. She forced another smile and walked toward a wedding she looked completely unprepared to begin. The chapel was filled with music, flowers, and quiet conversations. Everyone looked happy. Everyone except me. I sat near the back, watching the entrance where Lily was supposed to appear. Every few seconds, I checked the doors. Nothing. The ceremony was scheduled to begin at 2. At 2:15, people started looking confused. At 2:30, whispers began. Maybe something happened. "Where is the bride? Is she okay?" I looked around. The excitement from earlier had disappeared. Guests who had arrived expecting a beautiful wedding were now searching each other's faces for answers. Ryan sat beside me. "This is strange." I nodded. "Very. You think she changed her mind?" I looked toward the entrance. I don't know, but deep inside, I remembered the way Lily looked before she walked away from me. That wasn't the face of someone about to marry the person she loved. That was the face of someone saying goodbye. The groom stood near the altar. Ethan. I had only seen him briefly before. He wasn't angry. He wasn't nervous. He simply stood there, calm and patient. Almost too calm. Ryan noticed too. "Look at him." "What?" "He doesn't look surprised." I watched Ethan carefully. He checked the time, then quietly spoke with the officiant. No panic. No frustration. No confusion. Like he had expected this moment. "Do you think he knows something?" Ryan shrugged. "I think everyone here knows something except you." The words bothered me because they felt true. Minutes passed. Then finally, the chapel doors opened. Everyone turned. My heart stopped. But it wasn't Lily walking down the aisle. It was Lily entering from the side entrance. And she wasn't wearing a wedding dress. She wore a simple navy blue dress. No veil. No flowers. No nervous bride's smile. Just Lily. She walked quietly toward an empty seat near the middle of the chapel. The entire room went silent. People stared. Someone whispered, "What's happening?" Lily didn't answer anyone. She didn't even look at Ethan. She simply sat down. I felt my confusion turning into something heavier. I stood slightly. "Lily." She looked toward me. Her eyes were filled with sadness. Not fear this time. Sadness. I moved closer. What is going on? Her lips parted, but no words came out. Then Ethan looked toward the chapel doors. Everyone followed his gaze. The doors slowly opened, and a woman stepped inside. A woman I had never seen before. She wore a stunning white wedding gown. Her father walked beside her. The entire chapel became completely silent. My breathing stopped, because everyone suddenly understood. The woman in white wasn't Lily. The woman Ethan was waiting for was someone else. The woman in the white dress slowly walked down the aisle. Every step felt unreal. I looked at Lily. She sat quietly among the guests, watching the scene unfold. She wasn't angry. She wasn't surprised. She looked like someone who had already accepted what was happening. Ryan leaned closer. What is going on? I shook my head. I don't know. The woman reached the altar beside Ethan. He smiled gently at her. Not the smile of someone pretending. A real smile. The officiant stepped forward. Thank you all for being here today to celebrate the marriage of Ethan and Claire. The name echoed in my mind. Claire. Not Lily. I looked back at Lily. She lowered her eyes. For 5 years, I believed I understood the story. Lily was the woman who left me. Lily was the woman who moved on. Lily was the woman getting married today. But now, everything I believed was falling apart. After a few minutes, the ceremony continued. I barely heard the words. My attention stayed on Lily. Why was she here? Why did she invite me? Why did she bring me to a wedding where she wasn't the bride? When the ceremony ended, guests moved outside for photographs and celebration. I waited. I knew Lily would eventually have to explain. Ryan followed me. You need answers? I know. But be careful. I looked at him. Why? Because whatever this is, it's bigger than a wedding. He was right. I found Lily standing near the garden fountain. She was watching Ethan and Claire take pictures. I approached slowly. Lily. She turned. I knew you would come. Why? Her expression changed. Why did you invite me? She looked down. Because you deserve to know the truth. The truth about what? She took a deep breath. About why I disappeared. I froze. 5 years ago? She nodded. Yes. I waited. I never stopped loving you. The words hit harder than I expected. I looked away. Don't say that. Why? Because I spent 5 years trying to accept that you didn't. Tears formed in her eyes. I know. Then why? She struggled to answer. Because I thought leaving you was the only way to protect you. I stared at her. Protect me from what? Before she could respond, Ethan approached us. For a moment, nobody spoke. Then Ethan looked at me. I think you deserve the full story. I studied him. You knew about me? He nodded. Yes. How long? Almost from the beginning. That answer shocked me. You knew Lily invited her ex to your wedding? Ethan looked at Lily. Because this was never supposed to be a normal wedding. What does that mean? Claire joined us quietly. She smiled sadly. Because 5 years ago, Lily was supposed to marry someone else. My heart tightened. Me. Lily looked at the ground. Yes. The silence that followed felt heavier than anything before. Ethan spoke softly. The wedding you thought you were attending, he paused, was actually the wedding that should have happened 5 years ago. I looked at Lily. The woman who once broke my heart was standing in front of me. Not as a bride, not as someone who moved on, but as someone who had carried a secret for 5 years. And suddenly I realized the invitation I received wasn't meant to show me she had found happiness. It was meant to reveal why she lost it. I couldn't move. The words kept repeating in my mind. The wedding you thought you were attending was actually the wedding that should have happened 5 years ago. I looked at Lily. For 5 years, I had imagined seeing her again. I imagined anger. I imagined questions. I imagined finally telling her how much she hurt me. But I never imagined this. You need to explain. My voice sounded colder than I expected. Lily nodded. I know. Ethan looked at Claire. We'll give you two some privacy. Claire touched Ethan's arm. Are you sure? He nodded. Yes. They walked away, leaving Lily and me beside the garden fountain. For several seconds, neither of us spoke. Finally, I asked, why did you bring me here? Lily looked at the ground. Because I couldn't move forward without facing what happened. 5 years later, she closed her eyes. I know. You had 5 years to tell me. I tried. I laughed quietly. No, you didn't. Her face showed pain. I did. When? Many times. Then why didn't you? She looked away. Because every time I picked up my phone, I remembered the last thing I believed. I frowned. What did you believe? Her eyes filled with tears. That you betrayed me. The answer shocked me. What? She took a shaky breath. 5 years ago, before we broke up, someone showed me evidence. Evidence of what? That you were meeting someone behind my back. I stared at her. That's impossible. I know now. But back then, she nodded. Back then, I believed it. I tried to remember. The final weeks before our breakup. The arguments. The distance. The way Lily suddenly became cold. You never asked me. I wanted to. Then why didn't you? Her voice cracked. Because the person who showed me the proof was someone I trusted. Who? She hesitated. Someone close to both of us. The answer made my stomach tighten. Who? Before she could respond, someone approached us. A woman around Lily's age stopped nearby. Lily. Lily turned. Emma. The woman looked at me. I think he deserves to know everything. Lily nodded. You're right. Emma looked serious. I was there when it started. I looked between them. What are you talking about? Emma sighed. 5 years ago, someone wanted Lily to leave you. Why? Because your relationship was becoming a problem for them. I felt my confusion growing. Who? Emma glanced at Lily, then back at me. We need to tell him together. Lily nodded. 5 years ago, I received messages, photos, and conversations that made me believe you were hiding something. I wasn't. I know. She looked at me. But I didn't. The honesty hurt more than anger would have. I thought I knew you. You did. Then why believe a lie? Lily wiped her tears. Because the lie came from someone who knew exactly how to make me doubt you. Emma quietly added. They didn't just manipulate Lily. She looked directly at me. They manipulated both of you. The garden suddenly felt colder. What does that mean? Emma took a deep breath. It means your breakup wasn't an accident. I stared at her. It was planned. I stared at Emma. Planned. She nodded slowly. Yes. My mind struggled to process the word. For 5 years, I believed our relationship ended because of a mistake. A misunderstanding. A moment where trust disappeared. But now they were telling me someone had designed it. Who would do that? Emma looked at Lily. That is the part we are still trying to prove. I turned toward Lily. You knew this before inviting me? She shook her head. Not everything. Then what did you know? That I was wrong. Her answer was quiet. I discovered the truth months ago. Months ago? She nodded. Someone contacted me anonymously. What did they say? That the evidence I saw years ago was fake. I looked away. 5 years. 5 years of believing Lily chose to leave me. 5 years of believing I wasn't enough. And now the foundation of that pain was collapsing. Why didn't you call me immediately? Lily's eyes became emotional. Because I was ashamed. Of what? Of how easily I believed the worst. I didn't answer. Because a part of me understood. Another part of me was still hurt. I thought you didn't trust me. I know. And I thought you didn't love me. She closed her eyes. I never stopped. Those words were difficult to hear. Not because I didn't believe her. Because I wanted to believe them 5 years earlier. Before everything broke. Emma stepped closer. There is something else you should know. I looked at her. What? The person who caused this wasn't trying to destroy only your relationship. Then what were they trying to do? They wanted Lily away from you. Why? Emma hesitated. Because they benefited from it. The answer created more questions. Before I could ask, Lily interrupted. I didn't invite you here to reopen old wounds. I looked at her. Then why? Because I couldn't start a new life while pretending the biggest mistake of my life never happened. I glanced toward Ethan and Claire. They know. She nodded. Ethan knows everything. And he is okay with this? A small smile appeared on her face. He understands. Why? Because he knows what it feels like to carry someone else's unfinished story. That answer surprised me. The wedding. Lily nodded. It was real. But not yours. No. She looked toward Ethan and Claire. It was theirs. Then why were you here? She looked back at me. Because I needed to close the chapter that started here. The wind moved through the garden. Guests continued laughing in the distance. A celebration was happening around us. But for me, time had stopped 5 years ago and started again today. I don't know what to say. You don't have to say anything. I spent years hating you. I know. I thought you destroyed my life. Her eyes filled with tears. I thought I destroyed yours. The honesty between us felt strange, painful, but real. Then Lily reached into her purse and pulled out a small envelope. I kept this for 5 years. I looked at it. What is it? The last letter I wrote before I left. I stared at her. Why didn't you send it? She looked down. Because I was afraid. Afraid of what? That if I told you the truth, you would hate me more. I slowly took the envelope. The paper felt old, like something carrying years of regret. Lily whispered, I don't expect you to forgive me. I looked at the letter in my hand. But I needed you to know. She paused. That losing you was never what I wanted. For the first time in 5 years, I realized something. Maybe our story didn't end when Lily walked away. Maybe that was only the moment when the truth was buried. And now, standing in that garden, holding a letter that had waited half a decade to be read, I finally had the chance to uncover everything that I held the envelope in my hands for several seconds. The paper was old. The edges were worn. It looked like something that had been touched many times but never opened. You kept this for 5 years? Lily nodded. I wrote it the night I left. Why? Her eyes moved toward the lake behind the wedding venue. Because I wanted to tell you everything. Then why didn't you? She gave a sad smile. Because I was a coward. The honesty surprised me. I don't think you were. She looked at me. I hurt you. Yes. I disappeared. Yes. I let you believe something that wasn't true. I didn't answer. Because she was right. But I was also scared. Of me. No. She looked down. Of losing you completely. The answer confused me. You thought leaving would stop that? No. A tear rolled down her cheek. I thought leaving would protect you. I remembered the words she had said earlier. The same explanation. But now, for the first time, I wanted to understand. What happened after you left? She sat near the lake. I followed. For a while, we just watched the water. Then she opened the envelope. Inside were several folded pages. I wrote one every year. Every year. She nodded. The first one was the hardest. She unfolded the paper carefully. I wrote that I was sorry. She smiled sadly. Almost every letter started with that. I looked at the pages. Why keep writing if you never sent them? Because it was the only way I could talk to you. Her voice became softer. I knew I had lost the right to ask you for anything. I looked away. The words affected me more than I expected. For years, I thought Lily forgot me. But she had been carrying the same pain, just silently. She handed me the first letter. I read the opening lines. I don't know if you hate me now, but I hope you know I never wanted to hurt you. My chest tightened. I continued reading. I wish I had trusted your voice instead of someone else's. I stopped. Someone else's. The phrase stayed in my mind. Lily. She looked at me. Who was it? She knew exactly what I meant. The person who lied. Before she could answer, a familiar voice came from behind us. I can answer that. We turned. Ryan stood several feet away. I froze. Ryan. He looked exhausted, but determined. What are you doing here? He walked closer. I came because you deserve the truth. Lily stood. You knew. Ryan nodded. Not at first. My heart started racing. What do you mean? He looked at both of us. After your breakup, I knew something felt wrong. Why didn't you tell me? Because I didn't have proof. He reached into his jacket and pulled out a folder. I spent years trying to find it. I stared at the folder. What is that? The truth. Ryan opened it. Inside were documents, messages, and printed conversations. I finally found the person who started everything. Lily's face changed. Who? Ryan looked at us. Victoria. The name hit Lily immediately. My confusion grew. Who is Victoria? Lily whispered. Our former friend. Ryan nodded. She was the person who created the fake messages, edited the photos, and made both of you believe the other had betrayed you. The lake suddenly felt completely silent. 5 years of pain. 5 years of questions. 5 years of believing we chose to leave each other. All because of one person's lie. I stared at the folder in Ryan's hands. My mind refused to accept it. Victoria? Ryan nodded. Yes. Lily sat back down slowly. I trusted her. Her voice sounded broken. So did I. I looked at Ryan. Why would she do this? He opened the folder and removed several pages. Because she wanted something both of you had. What? Your lives? I frowned. That doesn't make sense. Ryan placed the documents in front of us. Victoria was jealous of your relationship. Lily looked at the papers. Jealous? Yes. Ryan pointed to the messages. She believed Lily was wasting her future by choosing you. I shook my head. That is insane. I know. Then why go this far? Ryan looked at Lily. Because she convinced herself she was helping. Lily looked away. She always said she knew what was best for me. I remembered Victoria. She had always been around, always giving advice, always pretending to care. Now every memory looked different. She showed you the fake messages? Ryan nodded. She created them. And the photos? Edited. I closed my eyes. 5 years. 5 years of anger directed at the wrong person. Ryan continued. She also told you that Lily had moved on quickly. I looked at him. How did you know that? Because I found the conversations. He handed me another page. She was manipulating both sides. Lily covered her mouth. I can't believe this. Ryan's voice softened. I know. No. She shook her head. I trusted her. I did too. The silence that followed felt painful. Not because we didn't have answers. Because we finally did. And the truth was worse than confusion. I looked at Lily. So when you left, I thought you betrayed me. And when I stopped looking for you, you thought I didn't care. We both became quiet. Because that was exactly what happened. Two people who loved each other had been separated by a lie. Not because love disappeared. Not because we chose someone else. Because we believed something that wasn't true. Lily wiped her tears. I should have asked you. I should have fought harder. You shouldn't blame yourself. I do. She looked at me. Why? Because I knew you. My voice became softer. I knew you wouldn't hurt me. Her eyes filled with tears. But you believed I did. Yes. The honesty hurt. But it also healed something. For the first time in 5 years, we weren't defending ourselves. We weren't accusing each other. We were finally talking. Ryan stepped back. I'll give you two some time. Before leaving, he looked at me. Are you okay? I thought about the last 5 years. The anger. The loneliness. The unanswered questions. Then I looked at Lily. I think I finally can be. Ryan nodded and walked away. The sun began setting over the lake. The same lake where Lily and I once talked about forever. Now we were sitting there again. Older. Different. But finally honest. I missed you. The words came from Lily quietly. I looked at her. I missed you too. She looked surprised. Even after everything? Especially after everything. A tear fell from her eye. I thought you hated me. I tried to. She smiled sadly. Did it work? I shook my head. No. For the first time in 5 years, we laughed together. Not because everything was fixed. It wasn't. Some wounds needed time. Some memories would always hurt. But the silence between us was finally gone. And I realized something. The hardest part wasn't losing Lily. It was believing she had chosen to leave. Now I knew the truth. Neither of us walked away. Someone pushed us apart. And maybe, just maybe, we had finally found our way back to the conversation we should have had 5 years ago. Months passed after the wedding. Life slowly returned to normal. But normal felt different now. For years, I believed closure meant finding someone to blame. I thought if I discovered the truth, all the pain would disappear. I was wrong. The truth helped. It answered questions that had haunted me. But healing required something more. Acceptance. One evening, I received a message from Lily. Can we meet? I stared at those 3 words for a long time. A part of me was afraid. Not because I didn't trust her. Because I knew seeing her would bring back everything. The memories. The love. The pain. After several minutes, I replied. Where? Her answer came quickly. The chapel. I knew exactly which one she meant. The countryside chapel where everything had changed, where I arrived expecting to watch Lily marry someone else, where I discovered the truth, where 5 years of confusion finally ended. When I arrived, the place looked completely different. No flowers, no decorations, no guests, no music, just silence, peaceful silence. Lily stood outside near the entrance. She smiled when she saw me. "Thank you for coming." I nodded. "I almost didn't." She smiled sadly. "I know." We walked inside together. The empty chapel felt smaller than I remembered, maybe because the pain that filled it before was gone. We sat on the same wooden bench where I had waited years earlier. For a while, neither of us spoke. Finally, Lily broke the silence. "I've thought about this day many times." "What day?" "The day I would finally see you without fear." I looked at her. "You were afraid of me?" She shook her head. "Not of you." She looked around the chapel. "Of what you would think of me." I understood. "You carried a lot of guilt." She nodded. "Every day." "Why?" "Because even though someone lied to me, I still made the choice to leave. I stayed quiet. I should have trusted you." "Lily." "No." She looked at me. "I need to say this." Her voice became emotional. "I lost 5 years with you because I was too afraid to ask the person I love the truth. I looked down, and I lost 5 years because I gave up." She frowned. "You didn't know what happened, but I knew you." The words surprised her. "I knew your heart." I paused, and I still believed the worst. Her eyes softened. "We both made mistakes." I nodded. "Yes, but we were also hurt." The sunlight entered through the chapel windows. For the first time, this place didn't feel like a reminder of what we lost. It felt like proof that we survived. Lily reached into her bag and removed a small notebook. I recognized it immediately. "Your letters?" She nodded. "I kept them." "Why?" "Because they reminded me of the person I was before fear controlled me." She placed the notebook in her hands. "I don't want to hide from the past anymore." I looked at her. "Neither do I." She smiled softly. "That's why I wanted to meet here." "Why?" "Because this place was where everything ended." She looked around. "And now I wanted it to be where everything was finally understood." I looked around the empty chapel. 5 years earlier, I walked into this place carrying hope. Then I left carrying pain. Now I was standing here again, but I was no longer the same person. I used to hate this place. Lily looked at me. "Me too." Every time I thought about it, I remembered losing you. Her eyes lowered. "I remembered hurting you." I shook my head. "Not anymore." She looked surprised. "Really?" "Really." I took a slow breath. "Because now I remember something else." "What?" "That this was the place where the truth finally came out." A small smile appeared on her face. "You always find the hopeful side of things." "I wasn't always like that." "I know." We both laughed quietly. For the first time, the memory didn't hurt. It was just a memory, a painful one, but no longer powerful enough to control us. After a while, Lily stood. "There's something I want to say." I looked at her. "What?" "Thank you." "For what?" "For forgiving me." I smiled slightly. "I didn't forgive you all at once." "I know." "It took time." She nodded. "And I needed to forgive myself too." Her expression softened. "What do you mean?" "I spent years believing I was only a victim." I looked toward the chapel doors. "But I also made choices." "Like what?" "Like letting anger become my entire life." Lily became quiet. "I thought moving on meant forgetting. And I was wrong." I looked back at her. "Moving on means remembering without letting it destroy you." Her eyes filled with tears. "You really changed." "So did you." She smiled. "Maybe we had to." Outside, the sun was beginning to set. The golden light covered the countryside. We walked away from the chapel slowly, not as two people trying to recreate the past, not as two people pretending nothing happened, just two people who finally understood each other. At the edge of the path, Lily stopped. "Do you ever wonder what would have happened if Victoria never lied?" I thought about it. The years we lost, the moments we missed, the lives we built separately. Sometimes, does it make you sad? I looked at the sunset. "Yes." She nodded. "Me too." A quiet moment passed. But I don't want to live there anymore. She looked at me. Neither do I. Because the past couldn't be changed. No apology could return those 5 years. No truth could erase every lonely night. But forgiveness could change what came next. My phone buzzed. A message from Ryan. You two finally stopped running? I smiled. Lily noticed. Ryan. I nodded. He says we're finally done running. She laughed softly. He's probably right. We continued walking. For years, I believed the worst thing that happened to me was losing Lily. But I was wrong. The worst thing was losing myself while holding on to the pain. That wedding invitation had looked like a reminder of everything I lost. Instead, it became the beginning of understanding. The beginning of forgiveness. The beginning of peace. I looked at Lily walking beside me. I didn't know what the future would bring. Maybe we would find our way back to each other. Maybe we would simply remain two people grateful for the truth. Either way, I was no longer afraid. Because closure was never about changing the past. It was about accepting it, learning from it, and finally giving yourself permission to hope again. As the golden sunset disappeared behind the hills, I walked forward. Not carrying anger. Not carrying regret. Only the quiet knowledge that some endings don't destroy a story. Sometimes they finally allow it to begin.